Hey everyone, welcome back to. If you've got an old Canadian penny from 1973 lying around, you might be wondering, asterisk, is it just pocket change or could it be worth more? Asterisk, stick around, because today we're diving deep into the Canada 1-cent coin from 1973, its history, design, varieties, and its current circulated value. Let's get into it. First, let's take a closer look at the 1973 Canadian 1-cent coin. This coin was issued by the Royal Canadian Mint and features the familiar image of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, or the front side, of the coin. Designed by Arnold Machin, this portrait was used on Canadian coins from 1965 to 1989. In reverse, we see the maple leaf twig, a national symbol of Canada. This design was created by G.E. Kruger Gray and has been used on the 1-cent coin since 1937, but what makes the 1973 version stand out? Let's talk about mintage and rarity. In 1973, the Royal Canadian Mint struck over 457 million 1-cent coins. So, as far as numbers go, this isn't a rare coin. Interestingly, there's a special 1973 RCMP Centennial version that's extremely rare. But that's for the 25-cent coin series, not the 1-cent coin. Still, the 1973 1-cent coin has small die variations, especially in the details around the bust and rim. These may interest die-hard collectors. Now, let's talk about the value. What is this coin worth if it's just a regular circulated 1-inch in general? A 1973 Canadian 1-cent coin in circulated condition is worth 1 cent, as expected. However, coin collectors will often pay more than face value if the coin is in good shape or has some interesting variation. For example, in average circulated condition, 1 cent in lightly circulated, clean condition, 2 to 5 cents if it's uncirculated or from a mint set, 10 to 50 cents, and sometimes more. Here are a few things that can make your 1973 penny worth more: mint condition ***, little to no wear, die varieties ***, errors or doubled features, toning ***, some collectors love, natural color changes. Oh, while most 1973 pennies are common, don't toss them without a second look. You might just find a sharp coin that a collector would pay a premium for. Let's take a quick look at the history behind the 1973 Canada 1-cent coin. While it might seem like just another penny, it was minted during a very interesting time in Canadian history. In 1973, Canada was celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP. Although the commemorative design was featured on the 25-cent quarter, the 1-cent coin still saw high production that year, with over 457 million minted for everyday use. The 1-cent coin still retained the classic maple leaf twig on the reverse, Canada's iconic national symbol, originally designed in 1937 by G.E. Kruger Gray. This design had become a long-standing part of Canadian culture and was used continuously until the last 1-cent coins were issued in 2012. The obverse side features the young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This image was first introduced in 1965 and was used on Canadian coins until 1989. So, in many ways, the 1973 penny represents a piece of Canadian tradition, standing at the intersection of a century-old national police celebration and the enduring legacy of the maple leaf design. And even though it was mass-produced, it still holds a small but meaningful place in Canadian numismatic history. While it's not particularly rare, it reflects a time when Canada's coins were still made with a mix of copper and a lot of national pride. And that's the story behind the 1973 Canadian penny. Not just a coin, but a reminder of Canada's heritage, identity, and place in history. The 1978 Canada 1-cent coin. Is it just pocket change, or could it be a hidden gem worth more than you think? Stick around to find out. Let's start with the basics. The 1978 Canadian 1-cent coin was minted by the Royal Canadian Mint, and like other pennies of its time, it's made from 95.5% copper, 3% tin, and 1.5% zinc, giving it that iconic reddish-brown copper tone collectors love. On the obverse side, we see the classic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This version of Her Majesty graced Canadian coins from 1965 to 1989. Flip it over, and we find the reverse side featuring the 2 maple leaves on 1 twig, a design by George Kruger Gray. This powerful symbol represents Canada's natural heritage and resilience. Now, let's talk numbers. In 1978, the Royal Canadian Mint produced approximately 854 million 1-cent coins. That's right, over 854 million. So yes, this coin is quite common in circulation, even though Canada officially stopped minting the penny in 2012. This high mintage means most 1978 pennies aren't rare, but the condition of the coin, any minting errors, and overall demand can still make a big difference in its value. Let's answer the big question. How much is a 1978 Canadian penny worth today if it's been circulated? In circulated condition, a typical 1978 Canada 1-cent coin is worth between 1 cent and 5 cents. Yep, it's still close to face value however. If your coin is in exceptional condition, like uncirculated, MS-60 and up, or has a rare minting error, it might be worth more, sometimes 25 cents to even a few dollars, depending on collector interest. Some factors that raise value include sharp details on the maple leaves and queen's hair, original mint luster, a shiny finish, no heavy scratches or discoloration, rare die cracks or doubling errors. Here's where things get exciting. There are error coins from 1978 that collectors actively look for. Die cracks ***, double dies, off-center strikes, and planchet errors can make an ordinary penny extraordinary. Some of these error coins can fetch anywhere from $5 to $50 or more, depending on the severity and demand. Want to know if your 1978 penny might be special? Here are a few quick tips for checking its value. Use a magnifying glass to inspect fine details. Check for mint luster. A shiny surface indicates better condition. Compare your coin to online photos of errors. Store your coin properly to avoid further wear, and remember, even if it's only worth a few cents, it's still a great piece of Canadian history to add to your collection. Oh, there you have it. The 1978 Canada 1-cent coin, a copper classic that may not make you rich, but definitely deserves a spot in your collection. Have you found a 1978 penny recently? Maybe one with an error? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your coin stories. The Canadian 1-cent coin, commonly called the penny, has a rich history dating back to 1858, when the first official Canadian coins were struck. By 1978, the penny had already gone through several design changes, metal compositions, and royal portraits. In 1978, Canada was still part of the British Commonwealth, and the monarch depicted on the obverse of the coin was Queen Elizabeth II. The design used at the time featured the second official portrait of the Queen, crafted by Arnold Machin. This version of her likeness was used from 1965 to 1989, showing the Queen wearing a tiara and facing right. On the reverse side, we find the two maple leaves on one twig, a powerful national symbol that had been featured on Canadian pennies since 1937. This design was created by George Kruger Gray, a well-known British coin designer. The maple leaf motif represents Canada's strength, endurance, and natural beauty. The 1978 penny was struck at the Royal Canadian Mint, which has been producing coins for the nation since 1908. The total mintage for that year was approximately 854 million coins, making it one of the most common Canadian pennies of the 1970s. The coin was made of bronze, a mixture of 95.5% copper, 3% tin, and 1.5% zinc, and weighed 3.24 grams. This composition gave the coin its rich copper color and heavy feel. By the late 1990s, Canada began phasing out the use of pure copper due to cost and shifted to plated steel, but in 1978, the penny was still solid bronze. Although the 1978 penny was common and widely circulated, it now serves as a piece of nostalgia. The Canadian penny was officially discontinued in 2012, primarily due to rising production costs. By that time, it cost more than 1 cent to make a 1-cent coin. The government and the Royal Canadian Mint decided it was no longer economical to keep it in circulation. Even after its discontinuation, older pennies, especially those made of bronze like the 1978 version, remain popular among collectors. They are reminders of Canada's monetary and cultural history. Today, the 1978 Canadian 1-cent coin is a common find in collections and old jars of change, a symbol of Canada's rich minting heritage, a learning tool for beginner coin collectors and in higher grades or with errors, a valuable collectible even if it's not worth a fortune. It holds historic and sentimental value as a coin from a time when copper coins were still a part of everyday Canadian life. Today, we're diving deep into the world of Canadian currency, exploring the fascinating story of the 1981 Canada 1-cent coin, a tiny piece of copper with a big history. So, grab your magnifying glass, and let's get started. The 1981 Canada 1-cent coin, often referred to as the penny, may seem like pocket change to many, but to collectors, it's a nostalgic token of Canadian history. This coin was part of the long-running series featuring the maple leaf twig design, which has been a hallmark of Canadian pennies since 1937. On the front, or obverse, we have the iconic image of Queen Elizabeth II, while the reverse shows two maple leaves on a twig, a design by George Kruger Gray. Let's break down the key features of the 1981 1-cent coin composition. ***: 98% copper, 0.5% tin, 1.5% zinc. Weight ***: 2.5 grams diameter asterisk asterisk. 19.05 millimeters over 1.2 billion coins were produced in 1981, one of the highest in Canadian history. So what's this coin worth today if you found it in your coin jar? Well, in circulated condition. The 1981 Canadian penny is still worth 1 cent in everyday transactions, though the Canadian penny was officially withdrawn from circulation in 2013, but to collectors. Asterisk a typical circulated 1981 1-cent coin has a market value of around 5 to 10 cents, depending on its condition. Coins with moderate wear won't bring in much, but they do hold historical interest. If you find a coin in uncirculated or mint condition, known as MS, mint state, it can be worth 25 cents to $1 CAD or even more depending on the grade now. Here's where things get interesting. Some 1981 Canadian pennies have slight varieties or minting differences that make them more desirable. One such variety is the high 8 in the date 1981, where the number 8 appears higher than usual. These can fetch a slightly higher price if noticed by the right collector. There's also interest in coins that show die cracks, off-center strikes, or other minting errors, which can boost the value significantly, sometimes up to $10 or more, depending on the error and rarity. Let's take a quick trip back to 1981. Canada was dealing with high inflation, economic challenges, and rising metal costs. In fact, the price of copper was becoming so expensive that producing pennies was no longer profitable. That's part of the reason why Canada eventually phased out the 1-cent coin in 2013. But back in 1981, these coins were everywhere, and millions of Canadians used them every day for candy, bus fare, and more. If you're hoping to add a 1981 penny to your collection, or you already have one, here's some tips. Check the condition asterisk asterisk. The better it looks, the higher the valued. 4 varieties. Or errors asterisk asterisk. Slight differences can make a big impact. Store it properly asterisk asterisk. Use a coin flip or album to keep it from oxidizing or turning green. Avoid cleaning your coin. Asterisk asterisk. This can reduce its value significantly to collectors. Oh, there you have it. The 1981 Canada 1-cent coin, a common coin with uncommon charm. Whether you're collecting for fun or investing in history, these little copper coins tell a big story about Canadian culture, economy, and design. The Canadian 1-cent coin from 1996. Is it worth more than 1 cent? Let's find out. The 1996 Canadian 1-cent coin may look small, but it's packed with history. This coin was part of the long-running Maple Leaf Penny series that started in 1937 and continued all the way until Canada stopped making pennies in 2012. The 1996 penny was minted at the Royal Canadian Mint and made from 98% copper, 0.5% tin, and 1.5% zinc. It weighs 2.5 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. Let's talk about the design. The obverse features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by artist Dora de Pedery Hunt. It shows the Queen wearing a tiara, a design used from 1990 until 2003. The reverse shows the iconic maple leaf twig, designed by George Kruger Gray. This symbol is a proud representation of Canada's heritage, and the year 1996 is clearly stamped below the leaves. In 1996, over 673 million 1-cent coins were produced. That's right, these coins were incredibly common, circulating in every corner of Canada. Because they were so widely minted, most 1996 pennies you'll find today are circulated and show signs of wear. But that doesn't mean they're worthless. So what's the value of a circulated 1996 Canadian penny today? Circulated condition asterisk asterisk. If your coin shows average wear, it's typically worth face value, or just 1 cent. However, some collectors might pay 5 to 10 cents if the coin is in better shape. Brilliant uncirculated, BU, asterisk asterisk. A coin in pristine, shiny condition with no scratches could sell for 25 cents to $1 CAD. Mint error coins asterisk asterisk. This is where it gets interesting. A 1996 penny with a double die, off-center strike, or other mint error can fetch $5 to $50 or more, depending on rarity and demand. Remember, condition is everything. Coins with luster, no discoloration, and sharp details are the ones collectors really want. Want to know if your 1996 penny is worth more? Here are a few quick tips. Check the edges and lettering under magnification. Look for mint errors or doubled images. Keep coins stored in a cool, dry place to prevent corrosion. Avoid cleaning coins, it reduces value. If you're starting a Canadian penny collection, the 1996 coin is a great and affordable addition. To wrap it up, the 1996 Canadian 1-cent coin may not make you rich, but it's a beautiful piece of Canadian numismatic history. Whether you're holding on to a handful or searching for rare varieties, this little copper coin is a great reminder of Canada's minting legacy. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to Yamara for more coin stories, and leave a comment below. What's the oldest Canadian coin in your collection? Thanks for watching, and keep collecting.